and make your comments. We're also asking you to rank the budget priorities as you see fit, whether or not you want to speak or not, and turn those in. You will have an opportunity to also verbally express your suggestions, your recommendations, and your input. You will be given 2 minutes in which to do so. Because we wish to include as many citizens as possible, we ask that you be mindful of that time frame. At the 30-second mark, you will be prompted by me, letting you know that it is time to bring your comments to a close. We ask that you be respectful and provide that opportunity so that we can get to as many citizens as possible. The first official that is going to speak is Deputy Mayor Judy Reese Morris, who also serves as the Mayor's Chief of Staff. She will talk about the BFO process, the budgeting for outcome. She will be followed by First Deputy Mayor and CAO Andy Copeland. And he's going to talk about citizens' engagement and a little bit about the results that the administration have achieved over the first year in office. Then we will have a formal welcome by your council member, Councilman John Johnson, and he will bring up Mayor Landrieu. My apologies, Mitch. That's 8 years from now. With that, I give you Judy Reese Morris.
Thank you, Nancy. Nancy was going back to old times. Good evening, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here this evening with all of you. Good to see you again this year. We're very happy to be with you to talk about the 2012 budget and the budget preparation period. Very important meeting tonight because we want to get your input. We want to get your ideas, your thoughts, what you think we should spend your tax dollars to support. And so we're here again this year to have some dialogue and discussion with you, and we look forward to a very fruitful evening. I want to start off by talking a little bit about citizen engagement. As all of you know, this is extremely important to Mayor Landrieu and to our entire administration. We know how important it is for us to get feedback from you on the work that we do every day. And so since we saw you last year at the community budget meeting, we have had numerous information sessions, public meetings, focus groups around very important city initiatives such as economic development, such as blight, and other infrastructure projects. We also have created the Office of Neighborhood Engagement, which is an office that we have established that allows us to work with neighborhood association leaders as well as citizens to provide information, to share ideas, and to facilitate problem solving. And I'm very, very pleased to let you know that because of the work that we are doing in this area of citizen engagement, New Orleans, our city, is fast becoming one of the country's best practices around this issue. And so we're obviously very, very proud of that, and we look forward to increasing our level of engagement with you in the future. But this evening, we have come to have a conversation with you about the budget, our partnership with you about the budget. And there's a process that we use internally. Vincent alluded to it. It's called the BFO process, or budgeting for outcomes. And this is a very, very simple process. You may remember this from last year for those of you who were here. It's a very simple process. We take the budget dollars that we have and we identify our budget priorities. We put them together and we build a budget. We do that around 6 result areas: economic development, public safety, children and families, sustainable communities, innovation, and open and effective government. And so while there's tons and tons of work that we can do in any of those areas, and in all of those areas, we need your feedback. We need to hear from you so that you can help us to decide exactly what it is that we're going to do in 2012. Now, once we settle on our budget priorities, we rank them, and as I mentioned earlier, we take our budget dollars and we assign them to each of those respective areas until our budget dollars run out. We then develop performance measures for each result area so that we can stay on track and on budget or under budget, as the mayor encourages us to do. And then we present all of that to the city council for their discussion and debate and eventually their approval. Again, another opportunity for all of you to give your input on the budget process. And so we encourage you to please make time to attend the council hearings on the budget. Once that process is completed, we have our budget for the year 2012. Now, in this budgeting for outcomes process, we have also created a vision statement and a mission statement and core values. I encourage you to go to our website if you'd like to know more about these, NOLA.gov, and you can find what it is that we try to use every day to guide the work that we do. So again, thank you so much for being here. This is a great turnout. We really are excited to be here, and we look forward to hearing from you. I want to now bring up our first Deputy Mayor and Chief Administrative Officer, Andy Copeland, who's going to talk a little bit more about the budget and also about our performance accountability report that we have started as an administration. And he's going to tell you why this is important to you and why it should make a difference to you. So please join me in welcoming Andy Copeland.
Thank you, Judy, and good evening, everyone. Pastor Barry, thank you again for hosting us. It's a thrill to be here, and as Judy said, the budgeting process is about setting priorities, and our first priority in that process is to hear from you all about your priorities. And so that's the purpose of this event tonight. As you who have attended other of these meetings or attended last year know, we listen carefully, and we take notes, and then we go back and, as Judy said, build a budget that is designed to address your priorities. And then what we do with it is attach goals and objectives to those priorities. So it's not just let's budget for filling potholes, but let's budget for how many potholes we're going to fill. Let's budget for cleaning catch basins, but not just about the activity, but the amount. As the mayor will tell you in a few minutes, he wants us to count everything. And it's our commitment to you all to count everything that we're spending your money on. And so we've now issued 2 report cards, if you will, on our progress against last year's budget goals. They're called Results NOLA. It's about 150 pages. You can find it on the mayor's website. And it goes through each and every goal. And so all of the department heads who are seated to the left, they know that our commitment, as reflected to the people of New Orleans in this budget, is to hit the targets that are listed here. And so, by no means are we perfect. We're not hitting all of them yet, but we're focused on them, and we're counting everything that we do so that we can give you a report card. And we're using that to manage, through the deputy mayor system, the performance of each department. So, for example, we've got some highlights. The police department has increased DWI arrests by 22%. We filled 33,000 potholes. We added recycling to the services that are available. You all said loudly and clearly across the city that we needed to have more activities for youth, particularly teenagers. So we doubled the summer jobs program and doubled NORD's budget. With regard to fighting blight, we are above our target in inspections, with nearly 15,000 blighted property inspections done. Previously, in the city's history, only 12 properties had been seized and brought to a sheriff's sale for a blight lien foreclosure sale. And thus far this year, 1,000 properties have been seized by the sheriff at our direction for blight violations. So it went from 12 to 1,000. Yet our hearings are below goal. And so what we've done, because we see that we're below goal, is we've thrown additional resources to try to increase the number of hearings. Because an inspector who inspects a blighted property doesn't get the result that we're all looking for unless and until that property owner acts under threat of a judgment from a hearing. And so we want to make sure those hearings get increased. So we've asked staff who are doing inspections to come help. We've asked city attorneys to work on Saturdays to speed up the hearings process. All the things that you would do when you recognize that you're not meeting the goal so that you can improve. And so that's our commitment to you. It starts with getting your input on the priorities, and then it goes through this process with the city council where we actually put dollars and cents and then outcome measures that we hold ourselves accountable to in this budget document. So that's why such importance is placed by our administration on these meetings in order to get your input. So we're thrilled with the great turnout. Look forward to hearing your comments and your priorities. And at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the council member for District E, who's a fierce advocate and a great partner of ours, fierce advocate for New Orleans East and the Lower Ninth Ward in Desire, Florida, and a great partner of the administration in moving the city forward, Councilmember John Johnson.
Thank you, Andy. Good evening, everybody. Pastor Landrieu, thank you very much for allowing us to meet here at the church and ministry. We really and truly appreciate that. And a very special thank you to all of the citizens who have come out on this afternoon to participate in this meeting. We think that it is an extremely important meeting and a great opportunity for you to say to the administration and to the council exactly what your priorities are and exactly what you think we should be doing and what we have not been doing for more than a year that we have been in office. We know that the people in New Orleans East are not afraid to say what's on their mind. We know that you're going to be talking to us to tell us what your thoughts are, what direction you would like to see this community move in. And we know that there are a lot of needs that need to be met in our community. But we also know that the government and the public sector can't do it all. And that's one of the really valuable things that we have in this community. We have a lot of neighborhood and community organizations that are directly engaged and very strongly involved in this community in helping us to move our neighborhoods forward. And ladies and gentlemen, we really and truly appreciate that and we value that. We know that there are issues that you're concerned about that have not been addressed at the level that you would like to have them addressed. And it doesn't mean that as a city, we're not trying. And it doesn't mean that as a community, you're not trying. But what needs to happen is that we need to continue this public-private partnership. We need to continue the process where government and the community are involved and working together. And that is the only way we're going to be able to move this community forward. I think you are going to hear about some of the good things that we have done and are doing in the community. Hopefully, you will think that we are moving in the right direction with a lot of the projects and programs that we're working on. And hopefully, you will be able to join hands and continue to work with us in a partnership to move New Orleans East forward in the manner in which we all want to move our community forward so that we can have a better quality of life and a higher quality of life. You know, yesterday we celebrated the 6th year of Katrina. And frankly, have not had a real bad storm since Katrina. And it kind of seems like if there's not one thing, there's something else. oil spill and things of that nature. And lo and behold, a fire. Of all things, a fire. A fire in the marsh, in this community. It seems like sometimes we can't win for losing. But this is a very, very strong community, a very, very dedicated community, good, strong, competent community leaders, and we know that we're going to win this battle and we're going to move this community forward. So tell us what you want us to know on tonight. We're going to listen, and we're going to be doing everything that we can possibly do to work cooperatively with you in order to bring the kinds of services and the kind of businesses that we need in this community in order to move it forward. And with that in mind, what I'd like to do is bring up the 8th partner that we have in city government who are working with the 7 of us very, very closely on the city council, Mayor Mitch Landrieu.
He almost said it. He almost said, man, Mitch L'Oreal. Come on, he almost said it, you know it. Somebody called me Mayor Morrison yesterday. Anyway, it's nice to see all of you. How's everybody tonight? God bless you. Pastor, thank you so much. Give Pastor Barrier. We were here last year and we cut up and he let us come back. So I appreciate that. It's great to see you. Let me first begin there are a lot of elected officials in the room and I don't want to miss anybody. I have Senator Cynthia Willard-Lewis is with us. Cynthia, where are you? God bless you. Doc and Mrs. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Senator J.P. Morrell is with us. J.P., where are you? Thank you. Representative Wesley Bishop is with us. Wesley, where are you? He caught on really fast. He just got there, hit the ground running, made all kinds of things happen. It was crazy. Sheriff Marlon Guzman. Sheriff, where are you? Thank you, Sheriff, for coming. Sheriff's done a great job. And are there any other elected officials in the House that I may have missed? Ellen Hazor is with us. Ellen, it's nice to see you. Judge Herbert Cade. And just to be fair, there are a lot of candidates in the room that are running for a lot of stuff. So why don't all the candidates that are running for everything, y'all stand up so everybody can see you. Right? We got a bunch of judges, all this stuff. All right, so see them, and there's an election cycle right around the corner. So all the candidates are here, and State Representative Austin Bannon is with us. Austin, are you here? Thank you, Austin, for coming. All right, why don't I just, again, thank you so much for allowing me to serve you as your mayor. I told you in response to your request, you asked us to make ourselves available, and we have. And we did this last year, we did it again, we're going to do it again this year. We're doing 7 community meetings, we're going to every neighborhood. In District D, we're having 2 meetings. We'll be in Lower 9 tomorrow. Of course, we're here tonight. We've already done a number of different meetings, and then we'll be in the second part of District C later next week. These are really important to us. Last year, you told us what you wanted. We took all that stuff, we went back, we put it in the document that we call a budget, we gave it to the city council, we thought about it, and we came out with a document, and that's the document that we have been using to govern ourselves from January 1st of this year that we'll use to January 1st on the end of this year. And then the budget that we're doing right now will start us on January 1st. So I'm going to walk through some of the stuff that you said you wanted, some of the stuff we were able to deliver, some of the stuff we tried to deliver that we couldn't, what we're trying to do to fix it, and then to go back in it. But before we do that, I want you to know that one of the things you asked us to do was to make city government available to you. So I brought with me tonight everybody that's responsible for anything in the government of the city of New Orleans. In City Hall, or with the Regional Transit Authority, the airport, Entergy, anything that's got anything to do with delivering a service, they're here. So the police department here, the fire department's here, the health department's here. Blight is here. Anybody got a problem with Blight? All right. My Blight team is here. Everybody, I want you to see them, so I'm going to ask everybody to stand up. So if y'all would please do that so they can see that you came. All right. So city attorney's office, anybody's got anything to do with hopefully any of the issues that you raised. So as we go through this, what I'd like to do, I'm going to talk for a second, but just from a process point of view. After I finish just a couple of introductory remarks, what we're going to do is ask everybody who's put a card in to say whatever it is that you want to say for 2 minutes. Try to stay within your time. We always have a lot of people that want to talk, and we want to be respectful of everybody's time. After everybody has a chance to speak that piece or ask that question, we'll take them down, and at the end of the meeting, I'll respond to every one of them. If I know the answer, I'll tell you. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you that. If there's somebody over there that has the answer, I'll point you to them. And if there's a specific problem that you have, I'll direct you to one of the staff people that can actually help. If we have to get back to you, we'll do that as well. In the event that the meeting goes too long and not everybody gets a chance to talk, you, the public, I'm going to ask to decide whether we should continue or whether we should stop the public comment. For those people that don't have time to make the public comment, I'll stay here until everybody who wants to speak to me or say something to me or one of the team members has an opportunity to do that. And so Vincent will stop us probably around 7:30, right? And then I'll ask your permission, and whatever you ordain is what we'll do. So if you want to continue, we'll continue. If you don't want to stop, the folks that did not get a chance to make a public comment, I will stay until everybody's had a chance to say what it is that they want. That's fair enough? All right. Why don't we start at the most obvious thing? We have a fire. Let me walk through this with you for a little bit. To the best of our knowledge, for those of you that may remember, there was a major storm, lightning event, we think last Thursday, Wednesday, and there was a little blaze that started. It has now turned into a fairly significant marsh fire that is right over our shoulder. All right. The area, do y'all have a picture of it? Emily, do we have a picture of it? I think that we do, if y'all can put it up. The area that is under fire is privately owned property. It is completely surrounded by water. Very important. It's completely surrounded by water, which means that, I don't want to tell you it's impossible, but it would be highly, highly, highly unlikely. Fire folks can't remember when it's happened, where that fire would move to a place where it would endanger property or life. And so it's burning, and the fresh grass is burning. And so it's producing a lot of smoke, of course, which all of us have experienced. Now, I live off of Claiborne Avenue. Sunday morning, Cheryl woke me up because she said, our house is on fire. I ran all over that place, and it wasn't. 1.8 million people in the metropolitan area have smelled that smoke. Of course, it's most intense here, right? And so our team, my Homeland Security experts with DEQ, and we have somebody from the Department of Environmental Quality here. Will you stand up? Are you with us? Where's DEQ? In the back. Thank you so much for being here. The Agriculture Department, Dr. DeSalvo was with us, who's been monitoring the air. The experts who fight these fires, the firefighters, the folks that actually do this in the West, because they have a lot of these things out in the West, right? Who would have thought that the Northeast would have a hurricane and we would have a brush fire? Just go past it, you know? We done had September 11th, we had Katrina, we had Rita, we had Ike, we had Gustav, we had the national recession, we had the BP oil spill, we had the fire. So my question to you is, when are the locusts coming? Right? I mean, it's crazy. But we've been working that and trying to do the best that we can. The firefighters, there's no way to get major and big equipment across that water onto that site. And the best expertise in the country says if you do that, you're going to put your first responders at serious risk. The major threat right now is in the air, and we're monitoring that. The people that have some risk are those of us that have some kind of acute awareness of respiratory illnesses. So if you have asthma or you have had some trouble, you're likely to have a little bit of trouble with that. We have seen a very slight uptick in the emergency rooms with a couple of people, but not much. There's an emergency unit outside right now as we speak. And of course, the urgent care center is open around the corner. So if anybody has any respiratory issues, you can go there. We are continuing to monitor. Today I declared an emergency. As we speak, the National Guard is in the air with 4 helicopters. They've already made 18 runs since this afternoon at 3. Tomorrow morning, 5 more helicopters will go up. 9 helicopters will be in the air, and then we can try to contain that with water until we are blessed with rain. And Bob Breck says to me, Mr. Mayor, I'm not going to call him Bob Breck, but we hope we get a weather, but we're going to monitor that, and we'll keep after it. The Recovery School District is monitoring the outside activity of the kids, and we're going to keep doing that until, you know, we do the best that we can of revealing it. But it's a very difficult kind of event to firefight. We've been talking to the folks in Florida and the folks on the West Coast about the best practices, and we're going to stay on until we get it done. And I want to thank Councilmember Johnson and the senators and the representatives for staying engaged with us throughout this entire process. All right. I'll be happy to answer questions if anybody wants to address it. Let me run through just a couple of things for a minute or two, and then I'm gonna sit and listen to what you have to impart to us. All of us know this team has been here 486 days. We have 978 left. We understand that we started 5 years after Katrina. We've gotten a lot of stuff done, but we're all very clear that we have a lot to do. There's no question that the city of New Orleans, even though I think it's fair to say that we have turned the corner and are moving in the right direction in terms of our heart and our minds and the things that we want to do, that we have a lot of stuff going on. And one of the things I want to just put an exclamation point on is the major effort to reform the police department and all the work that we still have to do to make the city of New Orleans safe. That is everybody's #1 priority from what I can tell. No matter where I go, if people have issues about whatever, it all comes behind, we got to make the city safe. And there are a lot of things we have to do. We have to fix the police department. I think that all of us had an opportunity to read the paper and watch the TV about the trials that took place on Poydras Street for the last couple of weeks. I think those kind of gave us an insight into how deep that problem is. Chief Surpass and the police department is working really hard. We have called the Justice Department here with us every day. We are working towards a consent decree so that we can sustain, right? Because all of us are not going to be here. We're all going to be gone, some of us sooner rather than later. And then other people are going to come after us. And what tends to happen is when you do reforms and people go away and then other people come in, they change. So what we have to do is find out what the answer is, and then we have to systematize it so that it stays for a long period of time. We had some big reforms in the police department in '96. They kind of went away. We've got to get it right this time. So that's important. The second part of fighting crime is making sure that our kids have something to do. So everybody in the city last year in these meetings said, you know what, we got to put the kids back in the playgrounds where they belong. And so we went back, and the city council and the mayor's office doubled NORD's budget. So what that meant, and all of you saw the benefit of this. I remember sitting with many of you, I think some of you ladies were there, if I'm recalling right, when we talked about Joe Brown, the pool, and whether or not it was actually going to open on time. Well, you know what? It did open on time. And it was beautiful, and we had a great summer there. Last year we had 8 pools open. This year we had 12. Last year we didn't have any teen camps for the teenagers. This year we had 7. Right? Last year we didn't have a whole lot of kiddie camps. This year we had 28. Last year nobody learned how to swim. This year we taught 6,000 people how to swim this summer. And so I think many of you saw the NORD program under the direction of Vic Ridges start really to kind of move it in the right direction, because everybody knows how important that is, and we're going to keep working on NORD because it's our young kids that need the help. Last year with Job 1, we only had 1,000 jobs for teenagers. This year we had 3,000. So you told us you wanted to do something. We listened. We put the money in the right place, and then we delivered in a big way this summer. But again, for those of us that grew up in NORD playgrounds, remember how spectacular it really was when we got to know each other really well by competitions around the city. We have a ways to go, but I think we put our money where our mouth is, and we're working in that direction, and everybody in this room had a lot to do with that success, and I thank you. On the terms of jobs, Henry Coxon, did I see you walk in this room? Would you please stand up? Mr. Henry Coxon, gentleman from New Orleans East, is the chairman of our New Orleans Business Alliance, which is our Economic Development Public Partnership. They've been working really, really hard. Rod Miller, our new executive director. Rod, where are you? Is a young man that was from Baton Rouge and then went to Harvard, and a whole bunch of fancy titles behind his name. Has been working really, really hard with our economic development folks. And in partnership with Councilmember Johnson, actually helped bring Blaine Dynamics out to the east, TCI out to the east, help expand Folgers Coffee out here, and continue to work on generating jobs out in this area. We continue to work very hard on the TIF, the retail right across the street. We're very close on that piece, waiting on the state and the developers to close a couple of loopholes, and we're going to start working really hard and continue on that retail piece, and we're going to continue to push jobs, and we have a nice announcement for you a little later. On schools, we continue to work with the Recovery School District, and we continue to work with the Orleans Parish School Board to make sure that the school system continues to make incredible progress. Now, in both the charter schools and the OPSB schools, both of them, the city of New Orleans is making great strides in the outcomes of all of our tests. And across the entire nation, we're outpacing almost every school district in the terms of the grades that our kids are making in the inner city versus the kids in the rest of the city. No other city in America is closing the achievement gap as fast as we are in both of those systems right now, and there's great progress. So that $1.8 billion that Senator Landrieu and a lot of other folks helped get, that is now in the process of getting spent on the ground, is actually starting to turn dirt. So just in New Orleans East, there are $195.77 million fully funded for new school construction or renovated schools for Carver, Martin Luther King, Wallace, Little Woods Elementary, L'Oreal, Schaumburg, and Shieldwood Forest. Some of those have not broken ground, some of those have, but that money is committed, and that school, those are going to form the basis of a very robust, right, education system in the East. On blight, remember last year? We had a discussion, I don't know, I think I was standing right here, and I said something about when's the day. Remember when we talked about enforcement? We talked about whether everybody was going to get to come home or not. And the issue was about, look, when's the time when we really got to start enforcing the law, and what are we going to do about blight? Because here's the problem. We have 60,000 blighted properties in the city. We have put together a very aggressive program. Jeff Hebert, where are you? Jeff, Porter, stand up. These are our two experts on blight. And so I told you that we would start doing this and we would track it. So every 2 weeks we have a public meeting that you are all invited to. Right? And Andy showed you earlier the scores. So we basically said, okay, what do you guys think you can do? How are you going to do it? When are you going to get it done by? And tell me how you're going to hit your marks. So they grade themselves every 2 weeks. Now, I know everybody in here has a story about a piece of property next to them that needs to be cleaned up. A lot of folks, right? That's a huge problem all over the city. We've been getting at it. We think that we can cure 10,000 properties in 3 years. And that's what our goal is. Now, in 2009, we took down the city, the year before we got here, 107 properties we demolished. In the first 6 months of this year alone, in District E alone, we've taken down 263 properties. Right? So that's twice as much in E in the first 6 months as they did in a whole year in the year before that. We've cleaned up 146 nuisance lots. Just in District E, we have inspected 3,580 properties, and we've had 460 blight hearings. Now, Andy showed you, and this is one of the things, I want to brag a little bit, and then I want to push on him a little bit. We actually hit the mark in terms of one of our metrics, but we didn't hit it another one. So people say, why would you grade that and tell people? Well, the reason we do it is because it shows us where we're falling down, or if our resources are allocated the right way. So if we're way above our goal on one and we're not, we move resources. And then we try to figure it out so that we actually can start delivering. And if we need more resources, or you tell us you want more and you want it to move it from one pot to the next because you think we ought to be doing something else, that's what we do. Nard, I talked to you about that. 1,588 kids from District E participated. And we actually had, this is a big number, but it's true, 82,924 visits from people this summer to the Nard swimming program, and 24,000 alone in District E. And so that's a lot of good stuff, and it's moving in the right direction. But as I said, the systems now have to get bigger and better and more robust so that we can actually get to where we're going. We have a lot of stuff going on with infrastructure, and we've got a lot of other stuff going on with streets. I know that you noticed that the federal government, the state, and the local, and all street stuff, I-10, right, has been redone. You see a lot of major streets getting redone. We know because we hear and we drive on them, the interior streets, the not big streets, and some of the big ones are not, we still have to do. We have two huge money infrastructure issues. One is with the Surge and Water Board, and one is with the interior streets that we have not yet collectively as a community, as a family, figured out how to pay for. Surge and Water Board is bleeding, meaning there are holes in the pipes, about 40% of our water every day. So we continue, me and Andy and the council member, continue to fight with FEMA all the time about making sure they reimburse us for what it is that they need to reimburse us for, and we will continue to do that. Just last week we announced, and Cedric Grant, Cedric, are you with us? Cedric Grant is a Deputy Mayor of Infrastructure. Cedric's team has met with FEMA 215 times in the last year. Cedric himself meets with them every 2 weeks. I meet with them once a month. The regional administrator comes in, and we walk through, and we ask them, did you give us everything you were supposed to give us? It's a good question. Secondly, did we ask you for everything we were supposed to ask you for? That's a better question. Because a lot of times people say, well, look, you didn't ask. Right? Did you value everything the way you were supposed to value it? Right? And are we generating everything we're supposed to generate? We generated 176 brand new money that we never had before in the last 476 days. And that process will continue on until, as Councilmember Johnson said, we get the level of reimbursement that we think that we are entitled to. And we continue to fight very hard in Washington, D.C. So this deficit fight that y'all are listening to, that's about us. That debt ceiling, that deficit, don't spend any money, push everything down. When they start turning that spigot off, that affects the money that's in the pipeline that's coming down from the federal government that they owe us in response to the damage they caused when the levees broke. And we will continue to battle as hard as we can to make sure that happens. So that's a small snapshot. We know, all of us know, but I'm looking forward to hearing specifically from you what you think your priorities, what your priorities are, what you think we ought to be doing, what we're not doing, right? And how we can do better at what we do. There are two pieces to this. One of them is designing systems so that they work, right? Like having the system itself, and the other is specifically getting out to your house. So I understand that you can say, Mitch, look, I appreciate that the I-10, right, is okay now, and I appreciate that they have that levee, and I appreciate now that they got that big 26-foot wall that's a mile long, and I appreciate all that other stuff, but I got a pothole right in front of my street that would choke a horse. And how are we going to do that? Or I got bushes growing in my side yard, how are we going to get to that point? And so we look forward to hearing from those of you tonight that have those, and we'll try to do the best we can to respond to that, and then we'll just take it from there and see how we do. So with that, you want me to recognize Judge Ron Scholes is here. Judge Scholes, thank you for being here. And Mr. Ronnie Burns, who is the chairman of our hospital service district. For those of you that have been following that, you know that when the hospital was purchased, we opened the urgent care center a couple of weeks ago. Dr. Casal, how many patients have we seen in the urgent care center in the last 3 weeks?
Almost 600.
600 people have been serviced in the urgent care center. They're moving forward very aggressively, putting a financial plan together, and that 80-bed hospital is going to be open at the end of 2013, as promised, on time and under budget, hopefully. We continue to fight very hard for that, and we will continue to do everything we can until that hospital is open, because healthcare security is really important to the East. And finally, I can say to you that the city of New Orleans cannot be the city that she can become without a robust and vibrant New Orleans East, a critical part to the future of the city. So we're committed, we're here, and we look forward to continue to work with you. Thank you. God bless you. I look forward to your comments.